Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mark O'Malley here with the Hurricane Season 2020 update, part of the Hurricane Outlook and Discussion for July 29th, 2020, recorded around 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the second video update today, discussing potential Tropical Cyclone 9, which is soon to be Tropical Storm Isaias. That's how you pronounced it. And it is soon to be a tropical storm. First of all, maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, pressure of about 1,006 millibars. Still not a tropical cyclone, but this is a potential tropical cyclone. But the National Hurricane Center has initiated advisories because they believe this will become a tropical cyclone in short order. Tropical storm warnings remain in effect for portions of the Lesser Antilles, the Northern Antilles, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and south of there in Hispaniola, pretty much as a whole. And then over across the Bahamas, tropical storm warnings for the Turks and Caicos, and tropical storm watches for the Central Bahamas. And we will likely see these be expanded here over the next few days and expanded over into this region, depending on the exact track. Speaking of the track, it is rather uncertain at this time. Again, a track over or just near Hispaniola as a whole is expected over the next day or so. And where a center really forms is going to be very crucial for deciding when and where impacts begin and where the storm goes and how strong it will be in the longer term. This is currently expected to pass over the mountains of Hispaniola in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, eventually moving near or over Cuba, but staying very close to land this whole entire time, which significantly limits the amount of intensification it can undergo. And we'll talk about some other caveats here in a minute. But again, the cone of uncertainty as it is a very wide cone. The average error is roughly about 200 miles for day 5, which is this forecast point right here. You notice anywhere, it could be anywhere over here, it could be here. We don't know yet, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and we're going to point that out and try to guide everyone in the right direction here over the course of this video. So first and foremost, taking a look here at the visible satellite presentation here from tropicaltidbits.com. Hopefully that will load. There we go. So we can see here a couple of things have changed since this morning. First of all, we have this oblong shape still of convection and kind of a wave axis that's kind of tilted in through this region right here. And one of the main problems is that this wave axis that's located in through here is causing the showers and thunderstorms to not really consolidate around a common axis. And that is also due to the fact that this is moving west at about 23 miles per hour. So it's on the upper end of the movement in terms of what is theoretically possible for tropical cyclone development in a closed low-level center of circulation. However, in recent hours, we have seen an area of convection, first of all, to the north, which, you know, this might have or may not have an impact in the overall area, but we've started to see signs of what could be a consolidation in this area during the last couple of hours or so. Now, the IR satellite presentation really does not show this at all. It still shows this kind of oblong wave shape axis with, you know, the wave located in through here, which showers and thunderstorms conglomerate around that wave, and we're not really seeing any organization in the pattern, at least on the IR satellite. But the surface observations would beg to differ with that. You notice here is our reasonable low-level center right here. This is based on the ATCF data from tropicaltidbits.com. And these wind barbs are the wind flow. You notice that we have almost a counterclockwise circulation around this whole center, and that is starting to be picked up. Now we might have a almost closed low-level center at this time, but whatever center is going to be in through here is going to be very broad and elongated. So I would not really count this as being too much, but this is the first steps basically in this being named Tropical Storm Isaias. And again, over the next few days or so, this is going to play now a major fact, and a major part of our forecasting is going to depend on, is this the low-level center somewhere in here? And exactly, even if it is somewhere in here, where is it in this region exactly? Because that exact point, and that's what we got the hurricane hunters for, but that exact point is now going to matter, because if this can move a little bit more due west-northwest, this has a better chance of missing the islands of Hispaniola in the Dominican Republic. But conversely now, if we start to see this tug still to the west, still to the west, still to the west, and then finally pulled up northward, we can see where the problem is, that these are big islands out through here and big mountains. Land and mountains don't go well with tropical cyclones. So my main point in this is a big deal, and these are the recent observations for almost the last hour until about 2:45, and they have shown that counterclockwise circulation, and that suggests that we do have a broader area of low pressure, but it is probably getting there to closing off at this moment. And we can kind of see that here on the 850 millibar relative vorticity product from the Central University of Wisconsin-Madison site. The reds and whites are your higher cyclonic spin at the 5,000 foot level. And we can kind of see that right here, poking its, kind of nose out within the red colors over there where I'm circling. That is a, still a elongated area, but it's less elongated than yesterday. It's not all stretched out like this area of vorticity right here. It's more consolidated, especially that red color is a little bit more consolidated now. And this is becoming apparent within our within the visible satellite imagery, that we have something in this general area. It could even be a little bit further south than that, but again, our general area is going to be in here. Over the next few days, though, this is going to really matter if we get any more center reformations south or north. That is going to have a big impact in the forecast. We'll go over why here in a second. Now, to the reconnaissance aircraft that was in there earlier, they found a very sharp wave axis. We'll zoom in here so you guys can kind of take a look at that. But they found a very sharp wave axis through here. Again, your wave axis is kind of tilted up like that almost. And they did find, we'll kind of highlight that in red where the wave axis is at. They did find, now you can see some of the wind shifts out here that are indicative that we have a pretty sharp wave axis in through here on the eastern side of it. And now we have started to see where there's probably some better consolidation in this region up to the north, where the reconnaissance aircraft earlier did find that almost subtle turning and a shift within the wind, which was very unexpected, but it was picked up well by the Barbados radar site and the composite radar site that's scattered throughout the Caribbean. It picked up on that feature pretty nicely. And now that area is sitting within some pretty deep convection, roughly situated somewhere within this region. And there's deeper convection to the north. So this is a very unorganized system, but it's starting to close off, but it's just taking so long because we're not getting the focus of convection over one area, and we're seeing forward movements of about 20 knots or closer to 25 miles per hour. Very detrimental to the overall organizational health of PTC-9. But what we're taking a look at here, this is a map I made from last night, and this kind of illustrates the uncertainties very well. And we showed this earlier in today's earlier video, so we'll go over this very quickly though. But what happened, and this is from last night, but it's still relevant, is that we have still a broad area of cyclonic turning, and this was the low pressure center last night at about 5 o'clock, or roughly about 7 o'clock rather. By the 8 o'clock advisory, that actually shifted to just north of Barbados, so it was a very quick moving system. Now, during the day today, we have seen the area of consolidation be roughly within about 100 miles or so of this point. So that is still a verifying forecast at this point. This was from last night, and this is verifying quite well that we're seeing the general consolidation area within about 100 miles or so of there. And now where PTC-9 ends up consolidating its low is going to be very important, as we talked about before. And this is for one of the main reasons why, because each L in through here, there's three L's, and where they're positioned is a reasonable, logical position for PTC9. It's actual true center. And a couple of things to note here is that you notice how, we have one over land, one just near the coast, and one over water. And it's mentioned here that if PTC's 9, if its inner structure and if its center does not have land interaction, this would imply the storm having a greater chance of being stronger in the short term. And some of the modeling guidance today has indicated towards that trend. Now, will that trend continue? We don't know. The model guidance has been pretty, lackluster per se with the overall performance this year and with PTC9 in by and large. But that will be something we'll have to keep an eye on, and we'll show that here in a minute. But if it does have land interaction, at least some, if not completely over the islands here, or the mountains of Hispaniola in the Dominican Republic, that could have a very significant track implication and strength implication, because the mountains disrupt tropical cyclones. They can't get their low-level relative vorticity because it disrupts it. Right? The mountains are a disrupting force into there. So what ends up happening, you're going to get a further west tracking storm, because the further weak it is, the further west it goes. That might imply some more time over land here, but if it is a stronger system, this has the bigger potential to brush away from the coastline and be in this area within the next 2 to 3 days or so. But even after all of that, there's still yet other challenges that PTC9 will have to overcome, mainly in the form of wind shear across this region and some dry air. There is a trough that is expected to be coming down from the north into the southern United States, and this is not the exact position of it, but it is going to start inducing a vorticity streamer, a PV streamer. And what that's going to do is induce some southwesterly shear into the system. So if it ends up here in this white area, it now starts to induce some of that southwestern shear on potential tropical cyclone 9. And this, if it is a weaker storm, is not going to be able to push this PV streamer out of the way, and thus that shear is now going to be impacting the core, or what core is there, of PTC9, and that could also push in some drier air, which is also going to be a detrimental thing. However, as noted, this is going to change. So stay tuned, because obviously we still do not have our answers, although they are possibly becoming a little bit more answered as of today. Now, one thing to note here, this is the 18Z model guidance from tropicaltidbits.com, and you notice the split is very well here. Again, this is the 18Z runs, so, previous from 12Z, which was what it was at before, but this is implying a couple of things here. First of all, you notice how there's a couple of short-term model runs that bring this very close, just near or directly over Hispaniola in the Dominican Republic, but barely avoiding the mountains here. And some of this, is pulling more towards the north. And again, that's all counting where the potential center might be. But you notice how the tracks were split between Florida and the Gulf Coast states. So now we're starting to see where the models don't even know what they want. And we talked about this, how this is not an exact track forecast, right? The reasonable lack of any low-level center is a little bit detrimental, because we don't know exactly where it's going to be or how strong it's going to be in through here. And there's another camp that brings it right over the islands and the mountains, right over Cuba, and it basically just annihilates the storm over the mountainous terrain over there. And even the official NHC forecast is going pretty close to that as well. Now, I suspect that they're probably going to take a little bit more of a jog off towards the east with the 5 o'clock advisory. And a lot of the models today have been trying to maybe get a little bit more east. So are we starting to see the trends of something? And again, it's just too early to determine when we don't have a closed low-level center. We don't have recon in there currently to really determine that. All we have is basic surface analysis, and that's not even good enough sometimes. So we really need reconnaissance aircraft later this evening to go in there, investigate the storm, and if they find a closed low-level center, then I can really put my money more so on the model guidance this afternoon and really give a determination. But interestingly enough, some of the modeling today has now shifted a little bit further off towards the east. But again, we're really not going to even focus out here beyond 72 hours. There is no point in speculating. Regardless of the current short-term trends, regardless of the current short-term trends, the impacts remain the same for the island. Strong winds, gusty winds, heavy rainfall, mudslides, flash flooding. That is certainly a possibility, especially if you live out here in Puerto Rico, in the Dominican Republic, Hispaniola as a whole, potentially even Cuba. Now, especially, if you're in Puerto Rico, you're about to get, the impacts starting now, basically. If you live in Hispaniola, you got, maybe 24 hours, until this thing is basically right on top of you. The Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, you only have maybe 48 hours. So this is a rapidly developing situation that, yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, but one thing is for sure, everyone needs to stay on top of their game and monitor. I don't care if this is a 35 mile per hour tropical depression. If it comes over your area and brings torrential rainfall and mudslides, that is a problem. So the intensity, at least right now, is not a big concern for me. The main concern for me is heavy rainfall, flash flooding, mudslides, gusty winds at times, because we have had gusts recorded 50 to 60 miles per hour. And that is certainly possible, especially within some of these deeper convective bursts that are occurring down here. So again, that is the general thinking. Now, what does some of the models say? Well, this is the HWRF model, the 12Z run, started initialization and analyzed this morning about 7 a.m. We moved that out here to just about an hour ago. You notice how we don't even have a well-established low-level center. The low-level center is actually way up here, according to the HWRF. It finally relocates that to near Puerto Rico, brings that right near Puerto Rico with more center reformations. The bottom line is for Puerto Rico, the impacts are not going to change. Heavy rain, mudslides, gusty winds, that is the impacts for those areas. Now, another thing to note here is if this HWRF model is correct, this strengthens it rather quickly because the land interaction does help. If it's right on the coast, that friction actually helps to tighten up its circulation rather quickly. And we've seen these storms where they come in, they skirt the land, but they tighten up that inner core really quickly. And that is one of the things that we'll have to watch here is, does that actually affect the inner core structure in a constructive interference, a positive way? Right now, the HWRF barely has this making landfall and then eventually moving up here into the Turks and Caicos as a stronger tropical storm or whatever. Now the next problem from that is going to be the dry air. We're seeing that right off here. This dry air gets trained in because of some southwestern shear. That's going to be expected. That's another significant impediment into the system. Now, conversely, this is the HMON model for roughly about the same time. It does much of the same within the next 24 hours, brings us into Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic, keeps us over a tad bit longer, but as it approaches Cuba now, it's north here, dry air getting wrapped in, but it's still a modest tropical storm by this point in time, and eventually continues to deepen it relatively further. So is this a possibility or is this not? Well, let's look at the GFS forecast. This is the 12Z run, valid for 18Z or about 2 p.m. this afternoon. And a couple of things to note here. These model guidance is meant to be taken with a grain of salt because they are obviously guidance, not gospel. We are not a fan of hype or anything, obviously. If you've watched us for long enough, we don't hype things up. We don't like to do that. We're here to show you the possibilities and keep it within a reasonable time frame, which for us is 4 to 5 days, given the relative uncertainty of this. But anyway, you notice here, this is the 2 o'clock analysis, basically. And your colors over here in your darker reds and lighter reds are your higher pressures, while your yellows and greens are lower pressures. So we'll push this out here to the next 18 hours. And one thing to note here is how this ridge of high pressure doesn't really erode all that much. And that continues the system generally east or northeast and could get dangerously close or right over Hispaniola in the Dominican Republic. After the next about 36 hours, that ridge now is starting to abate ever so slightly. You notice this area isn't as prevalent as it once was before, but the ridge extension goes all the way over here. That's the ridge extension, but you notice what happens is we end up getting this shortwave energy over here. The first one, that continues to erode this area of high pressure away further east, allows the system to gain some latitude, and then eventually we have yet another shortwave trough energy over here that continues to erode this ridge away. And now there's a slight alleyway, if this can become strong enough, to be pulled away from the coastline here. And that is something that the models in the 18Z runs have started to kind of pick up on during the day today. It will be very interesting to see how that continues into tonight, and if we do get a closed center and a tropical cyclone to actually be designated tonight, can we get more precise model guidance data in there? Now, conversely, this is the European forecast model showing a much higher and stronger ridge in the atmosphere this morning. That kind of abates, but notice what happens on the euro. The euro is actually a little bit stronger on this run, and this is very interesting. The 12Z euro, for reference, had almost zilch, and now it's developing a bona fide tropical storm. Now, what also happens, this ridge axis is actually a little bit weaker in through here. You notice the biggest extent of that ridge is right through there. And now you're getting your area of troughiness positioned right through here. That's helping to erode that ridge because the trough axis right here is actually tilted. And that tilt is actually causing that, because it's kind of sticking out here a little bit more, causing the ridge to be eroded ever so slightly. So this is not diving it into, Cuba. Now, as we position out through the next 72 hours, once again, off the Florida coast here, we've got another trough coming in here, another trough, so a shortwave trough. The ridge is eroding because of our first little system out here. This is kind of just a big connected area right here, but your main axis is now shifted over here with kind of a secondary axis over here, and now it's wanting to pull this a little bit to the north, and we're not going to go beyond that time frame. But the bottom line is, if you live in the Bahamas, it's something to watch. And again, this is only 72 hours away, 3 days out. You don't have relatively high amounts of time and a lot of time to now work on preparation. So, as a course of least regret, to not get caught off guard, if you live in the Bahamas, you need to start thinking about your hurricane preparedness plans. Where it goes, how strong it will be, we don't know that answer. So it's very hard to determine that. But one thing is for sure, the model guidance today has flip-flopped, and it's going to flip-flop. And until we get a closed low-level sensor, we will not know what is going to happen. But the model guidance today has tried to suggest a little bit of a flip-flop and a little bit of a monkey wrench into our current forecasting. And that's something that the forecasters at the National Hurricane Center are best at doing. They're best at keeping their cool under these very stressful times and stressful forecasting, that is for sure. Again, I am on Twitter at MikeRemaley1. Go follow me on there. I will be doing in-depth analysis later this evening regarding the relative uncertain future of potential Tropical Cyclone 9, future Tropical Storm Isaias. Again, we will be going over everything on there and kind of, me tweeting out my thoughts. I'm getting my camera systems ready. We pretty much have everything complete. We're fully operational now. We're ready to go. It's just a matter of, do we get something to become operational enough to put our cameras out there? So we have a lot of things to focus on here over the next 3 days or so. Of course, I will be doing consistent updates as always. on my Twitter and here on YouTube. So go subscribe to me on here and go follow me on Twitter at Mike Remaley1. Links will be down in the description down below. I thank everyone for their support. That really means a lot to me. And with that being said, everyone, hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Be safe out there and make sure to heed the official advice from your local officials and the National Weather Service and Hurricane Center. Have a great rest of your Wednesday afternoon, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning. Stay safe, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow.